right, I need you to sit down for this one, because this is one of those stories that just makes you shake your head as a Knicks fan. Jeremy Sochan is officially gone. Not traded, not waived in some big move, just gone. He signed a training camp deal with the Portland Trail Blazers, which in NBA terms is basically the front office equivalent of saying, thanks, but no thanks. And before we get into why this matters, let's get one thing out of the way. If you're a real Knicks fan, if you bleed blue and orange, smash that like button right now. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and I want more you seeing these breakdowns before anyone else does. So here's the deal. Sachin came over to New York after San Antonio moved on from him. The plan, at least on paper, was for him to be a backup big man, someone who could soak up minutes behind Karl-Anthony Towns and give this front court some much-needed depth. And look, nobody expected him to be a superstar off the bench, but the expectation was that he'd at least be a piece of the puzzle going forward. Instead, the Knicks let him walk this summer, without even trying to bring him back on a minimum deal. Think about that for a second. A minimum contract. That's pocket change in the NBA. And they couldn't even be bothered to offer that. This is where I start getting frustrated, because this isn't happening in a vacuum. The Knicks already lost Mitchell Robinson to the Celtics in free agency. They already lost Ariel Hukporti to the 76ers. That's 2 centers gone in one offseason. 2. And what did the front office do to replace that depth? They brought in Andre Drummond, which, fine, Drummond can still play, but he is one guy. One 32-year-old big man is now supposed to hold down the fort as the only real backup to Towns. If you're not frustrated by that as a fan, I don't know what to tell you. And here's the part that really gets under my skin. If Sachin genuinely wasn't good enough to be that third big, fine, I could accept that as a basketball decision. But the fact that he ended up settling for a training camp invite in Portland tells you everything you need to know. There was no bidding war for this guy. There was no competitive market driving his price up. The Knicks could have brought him back easily, and they chose not to. That wasn't about money. That was a decision. And decisions like that say a lot about how this front office actually views its own depth guys. Let's talk about why this actually matters on the court, because I don't want this to just be me venting into a microphone. Karl-Anthony Towns has been one of the most durable, most reliable centers in this entire league over the last few years. 65-plus games in each of the last 3 seasons. 70-plus in the last 2. The guy shows up, and last postseason he was a massive reason this team went all the way and brought home a championship. But even a guy like that needs real support behind him. You cannot run a championship-caliber rotation with just 2 centers. That's not sustainable across an 82-game season plus a long playoff run. Injuries happen. Foul trouble happens. Matchups happen where you need a different look at the 5. Sachin, even in a limited role, could have been that third option. A guy who can slide up to the 4 when needed, who can hold his own defensively against smaller lineups, who gives you flexibility on nights when Towns needs rest or picks up early fouls. Instead, the Knicks are walking into training camp with a 2-man center rotation and a giant question mark where a solution used to be standing right in front of them. And that's really the frustrating part of this whole situation. This wasn't a guy they had to go find on the open market. He was already on the roster. He already knew the system, knew the locker room, knew what was expected of him. All they had to do was pick up the phone and say, "Come back, let's run it again." And they didn't. They let him leave. They let him take a non-guaranteed camp deal with another franchise. And now this front office still has to go find a third center from scratch, either later this summer or scrambling once the season's already underway. If you're as fired up about this as I am, drop a comment below and tell me what you think the front office is actually thinking here. Are they confident Drummond alone can hold it down? Do they have another move lined up that we don't know about yet? Because right now, on paper, this looks like a gap they created themselves and then just decided to ignore. Here's my honest read on it. Based on how this played out, it's pretty clear the Knicks front office never fully trusted Sachin at the 5. If they had, this wouldn't have gone down this way. They would have found a way to keep him in that mix at a minimum price tag, no questions asked. Instead, they let him go test the market, watched him land a camp invite, and did nothing to bring him home. That tells me the belief just wasn't there internally, whatever they said publicly about his role last season. So now the front office has a real problem to solve. And honestly, not a lot of time left to solve it. Free agency is winding down. Training camp is right around the corner. And this roster still doesn't have a proven answer at backup center beyond Drummond. Whether that means another free agent signing, a trade for size, or just hoping internal development fills the gap, something has to give before opening night. Before you go, make sure you're subscribed if you want to stay ahead of every single roster move this team makes this summer. And seriously, drop your take in the comments. Do you think letting Sachin walk was a mistake, or do you trust this front office knows something we don't? I read every comment, and I want to hear where you land on this one. Like this video if you want more honest, no-filter breakdowns like this one, and I will see you in the next one.